Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. It is Veterans Day, and I cannot express my deepest gratitude for veterans in all branches of the military. And these days, cops and firefighters who face challenges I don't think any of them anticipated when they signed up. So, yeah. Okay. How was your reading week? Mine was interesting. Let's go with interesting. I was adding books to my October reads journal, and it appears I forgot to talk about a book on Monday wrap up. If I have talked about it, please feel free to skip this entire conversation. And that is an Indiscreet Princess by Georgie Ballock. I did finish this. It talks about Queen Victoria's, or not talks about, it is focused on Queen Victoria's daughter, Louise, and she was the second youngest daughter of Victoria and Albert. And you know that romantic notion we all have, if I was a princess, my life would be so much easier. I could do what I want when I wanted. I had no concerns. My life would just be on easy street. That was very not true for Princess Louise. Victoria was an incredibly controlling mother, and Louise struggled most of her life to break free of Victoria. And this book covers a very small portion of her life. She was the artistic daughter of Albert and Victoria. She was a sculptress in her own right. She could paint and draw, and she had that talent. And Victoria very reluctantly nurtured it and then allowed Louise to express it publicly, because it was, not befitting a royal princess. And one of the most famous sculptures of Victoria was actually done by Louise. And the whole world sees it, and I think very few people know it was done by Louise. She was an amazing person, and you don't hear about her. She's kind of forgotten these days. And so the title makes you think this is going to be a very salacious read. And it is really not a salacious read at all. Yes, there is mention off page of, and a little aftermath on page, Louise's rebellion and trying to carve a path for herself. But it is not an open door. It is not titillating. It is really the struggle of a woman trapped by her birth, and a mother who will not let her go. And I absolutely loved it. So if you are looking for something that is Victorian adjacent and you are interested in the children of Victoria and Albert, this is an excellent read. There are quotes throughout from Victoria's journals and correspondence with her daughters, and it's utterly fascinating. So I highly recommend it. Okay, what else did I read? I did finish Never Did a Roommate by Paula Ottoni, and this was a Goodreads win, and I love the cover. However, this is labeled as a proof. I will tell you that the glue on this proof is almost non-existent, and pages were routinely falling out. You can kind of sort of see. Maybe not. But, you know, they're sticking out, and it drove me nuts. This takes place in Sweden. We have a Brazilian immigrant working in Copenhagen, and she's miserable at her job, but she thinks it's her best chance to escape the life she dreads back home with her family. So she moves in with, what's his name? Eric, as his platonic roommate, and things develop from there. It's a fake dating relationship. I will tell you very early on in the book, there is some use of nonsense language, and that never appears again. And it was purely thrown in there by the publisher for the sake of it being in the book. There is no other reason that it appeared. And the last 25-30% of the book, there are two open door scenes that I skipped entirely. They were entire chapters. I don't think they needed to be there. They added nothing to the story. It was already short enough. It is a 281 page book in this format, and the scenes added nothing. The overall story was decent. The exploration of Swedish culture and a Brazilian immigrant was interesting. It more than stood on its own as a storyline, but you know, it is a book published by Harlequin, and those scenes added nothing, and absolutely nothing on this cover will tell you that it is open door. In fact, this is a very clean cover. It's a very cozy cover. It's a very sweet cover. 2, open door. They didn't need to be there. They added nothing. So between the language, the unnecessary open door scenes, I knocked it all the way down to a 1. Maybe I gave it a 2 on Storygraph. I gave it a 2 on Storygraph because I did finish it. The story itself was decent. Her writing is good. It isn't the story structure, and it isn't the writing. It's the unnecessary content. And I'm sorry, but I'm not giving you a higher than a 2 for language and content that adds nothing. So it's decent. If you can skip scenes, then you're fine. Otherwise, skip the book. Next up was a read that was much better than I thought it was going to be. That was The Engagement Party by Darby Kane. This was another Goodreads win. This is a psychological thriller. It is in the closed locked room category. And it is fantastic. It is set on an island off the coast of Maine. And this will take you for a ride. I absolutely loved it. I will not hesitate to pick up another book by her. It was atmospheric. It was intelligent writing. There is no nonsense. It did keep me on the edge of my seat. And if life hadn't kept rearing its ugly head, I would have finished it, in a day or two easily. It was fantastic for a new to me author, secular, just lost my train of thought. And it's not coming back. Okay, so it was fantastic. Can I tell you it was swear free? No, because I don't remember, and it wasn't important. But I will tell you that the writing was top notch. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. I did not guess the ending. My guess for who the guilty party was 100% incorrect. And yeah, the ending is very, very satisfying. That is everything I managed to read this week. As you can tell, for me, it was a very light reading week. I didn't listen to anything. I have a bunch of other things in progress, but yeah. Okay, so what's in progress, Tammy? I did start In the Shelter of Holly Thornhouse by Sarah E. Ladd. This is the second book in the Houses of Yorkshire series. I'm a couple of chapters in, and I will finish this week. I am invested. I am thoroughly enjoying myself, and Sarah Ladd is a fantastic author. I truly enjoy her books. Okay. And I am also reading on my Kindle All in Good Time by Carolyn Asfalk. I'm like 25% through this one. This is Catholic contemporary fiction. I am here for it completely. I don't want to talk about it in detail before I finish it, but Carolyn is one of those writers I am always going to pick up and read, especially she writes teen and adult content. I'm going to always read her adult content. It is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I will finish that this week. We'll talk about it in detail next week. So, okay. What else? What else am I reading? Well, I am a little less than halfway through Shakespeare's Sisters by Rami Targoff, and I'm so incredibly pleased. This is definitely an academic nonfiction, and it is taking me a while to read and absorb chapters. However, it is an academic nonfiction that is free from political agenda. There has been none of that. There is no, it is just what an academic nonfiction should be. Here is the chronological history and facts. Every once in a while, there's a slight feminist twist, but it's at the end of the chapter. It is in full-blown commentary. It is just a possibility. I am thoroughly enjoying this. I am getting, despite there only being 2 tabs in it so far, both of those tabs are for works I want to go back and pick up for myself, things I have never heard of, things I am very interested in, and all of the women in here so far are absolutely fascinating. And I don't know what else the author has written, but I'm going to look into it because based on this alone, I am very happy. It is a very good read. I did try and read some more in Little Women this week. I have started the vlog. I will talk about that in detail in the vlog. So I'm just going to give you a little update. I'm not reading this copy. This copy is going back on my shelf. And I will not buy, however pretty they are, the Pride and Prejudice version that is just like this one, because at least for me, they are rendered unreadable by the inserts. I will explain more in the vlog, but I was trying to read and I was struggling. So my new copy of Little Women arrives today, and I will work on that vlog today. Okay, that was my reading week. As you can tell, it was filled with books. I did do a lot of Bookmas planning the rest of the month in November for planning for videos. I have videos now planned for December, so we're all good with that, thankfully, and I don't have to sit here and worry about content. So it may have been a light reading week, but I got a lot of planning done. So how was your reading week? Hopefully it was better than mine. Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.